Hello folks, I'm OdinSpack, and welcome to my newest Let's Play. This is The Incredible Machine on PC. This game came out in 1993, and is a perfect game, I feel like, to show off for my channel. Because I'm celebrating my 15th year now on YouTube. This is my 15th year anniversary. And when my YouTube channel started, this game was 15, so now it's celebrating its 30th anniversary, and now my YouTube channel is now as old as this game was when I started doing YouTube videos. Not only that, but this is one of those childhood games that I easily could have ended up playing instead of Rad Gravity as my first project. This has a lot of nostalgia for me. I haven't played it in a little bit now, which is really good because this is a puzzle solving game. So obviously you don't want to do too much like knowledge beforehand, or else you'll know how the game works. But this game is all about puzzle solving. It's a Rube Goldberg machine, basically, where you're trying to make some sort of objective happen through a series of different things. And we'll be explaining all that as we go along. So I know you're seeing the screen here. You're seeing a bunch of like score on screen at the bottom. We can get into here. So our first tutorial puzzle here, put the ball in the hoop. We gotta make the basketball go through the hoop. And so we go into here. This is our main screen. On here you have like, you know, this is the machine itself. So if we start the machine, this is what happens. And then over here on the right, we have our different tools on how we're gonna make this basketball here go in here. But you're noticing this the score at the bottom here going down. Honestly, the score is like just something. It's not really that important, especially if I've played this before. It's not really that big of a deal. I think the most important part is showing how this game works. So with that being said, what I'm gonna do right before we start here is we're gonna put it into full screen. So this game, without the score at the bottom, like perfectly fits into a full, like a 1080p. It's almost like they envisioned widescreen before, before it was really a thing for PC games. So, we're not gonna worry about the score at the bottom whatsoever, because like I said, it's not really that important. But some other stuff here, we got the menu here. We can adjust some minor settings. Gravity and air pressure, we'll get into that later, but right now everything's normal, so we don't gotta worry about any of that. But here we go. Here's the Incredible Machine. Here's the first puzzle. So everything we see on screen, these are static. We can't change anything. Like I said, I start the machine, that's what happens. That bowling ball falls, that's it. That's all we can really do. So what do we have to do? We have these different parts here. So what's some of this stuff? So let's start placing some of them. So this here is Mort the mouse. He's in this like wheel here, and this is a generator. We'll be using stuff like this a lot. With these belts, I think that's what these are called. We're going to connect them to these conveyors, and then what you'll see here is we'll start it up, and that's how that goes. That's not the only way to do this, but it's probably the easiest way. So we can kind of do this, and we can kind of connect these, and this is pretty much the puzzle right here. This will solve the puzzle. We also have these ramps, which you don't need to use at all, but they're here. Like, we don't even need these at all. But it's kind of fun because instead of using this here, we could use a ramp instead to hit this bowling ball into Mort the mouse here. And it's not like the most efficient thing, but that's something that you can do. And I think that's pretty cool that this game has lots of various ways to solve the different puzzles. Also, the soundtrack of this game slaps. It's so good. I love all the music in this game. Very, very early 90s, very early PC, but some of the music in this is just so good. But we have a lot of puzzles to solve in this game. I think there's a little over 80. There's also an expansion called Even More of the Incredible Machine. I never grew up with that one, so we're just playing the original here. But this is puzzle 2, mirror images. So put both bowling balls into the metal baskets. To solve this puzzle, you must place and flip the mouse cage, and then hook up the pulley belt to the conveyor belt. Okay, so these are called pulley belts. So I was right by calling it a belt, but it's just called a pulley belt. So you'll notice if we do what it says here, oh, I should have ran this first, right? Here, you know what happens? If you hit the bomb here, it'll restart the level. So I like to try to run it first just to see what happens, right? So look, we don't have to even do anything on the left. That's just kind of how that goes. But yeah, what they want us to do is do this, but you'll notice when we do, it's because Mort is facing the wrong way here, so we got to flip him around. And then there we go. Done. So this game was published by Sierra. They've made a lot of PC games. You probably know, like, King's Quest. You probably heard of that. It's a pretty famous old-school PC game. But same publisher. So this is Bellows and Balloons, Puzzle 3. You must pop all the balloons. So what happens when we start this up here? So we got a baseball here. And that's going to fall onto these, like, fans? I guess that's what these are, but I'm not really sure, but they blow out air, and it's basically knocking this balloon into these scissors. So you also notice at the top of the puzzle, we got a gear spinning up there. There's a cannonball. There's a bunch of different, well, I wouldn't call it cannonball, a sports ball, but there's various sports balls in this game, each with different physics and whatnot, so that's a little tutorial on how, you know, these little, I don't know, fans are, I wouldn't even call this a fan. It kind of looks like a fan, but, like, not quite. So, anyway, here's scissors, so, you know, scissors pop balloons, not a surprise. But you can also press in scissors, too, like so. We don't need to do that in this instance, but that is something you can do. And you don't have to solve every puzzle, like, how they want you to solve it, too. Like, obviously, they want you to do something with these scissors here, but say I wanted, like, you know, like, let's say we don't want to do this yet. We don't want to solve the puzzle. You know, we could probably find another way to pop this balloon, without using the... We can... I was messing around with this before I started. Just a couple of puzzles, not too many. But, you know, we could do something like this and move the balloon into that gear. Like, there's... I love that there's a bunch of different ways to do it. There's obvious ways, but then there's stuff like that. And here we go. Flip, flip, flip. Puzzle 4. Your goal is to make the bowling ball fall off the bottom of the screen. And this is going to introduce us to something we'll definitely be using a lot of in this game, which are seesaws. So we can see how those function right here. So each of the balls have different weights to them. So the cannonballs are the heaviest. Then I want to say the bowling balls are probably the next heaviest. But also gravity has something to do with it too. You know, if it falls from a far enough distance, it'll make something launch farther. But these seesaws are pretty good at making stuff kind of launch. So you can kind of use this on different puzzles for various momentum and whatnot. But, you know, there's really only one way to solve this puzzle, so we'll just kind of just keep it going here and keep moving because there's no other real way to do this one. So here's puzzle 5. Punch out, yo, Little Mac. Use the boxing gloves to punch the baseball up to the metal pipes. Also, this song is good. So here we go. We got boxing gloves now. So when you bounce into them, they launch an object that it's facing. So in this instance, it's this bowling ball. So we don't have many different things that we can do here. So like I said, these are just the tutorial puzzles, so they're not going to give you too much complicated stuff here. Usually you'll end up using most of the tools at your disposal to solve the puzzle. I think it's pretty interesting that the first puzzle is the one it is, because they don't really explain the game. They're just kind of like, hey, figure this out. That could be a little tricky to figure out, honestly. But here we go. Bouncing over to Mort. Puzzle 6. Make Mort the mouse run in his cage by hitting the cage with his basketball. So yeah, he runs whenever you just run into the cage there. So we have to use these trampolines, which, as you can imagine, the more that something runs into this, like the higher you bounce off a trampoline, you know, the higher your object will go. So you'll kind of have to use some, you know, planning and kind of figuring out what's the ideal one to go here. Kind of, you know, I think that should be enough. This is kind of one where you kind of have to just kind of, you probably couldn't put it all out at once. See, even I messed that up too. You kind of have to fiddle around with a puzzle like this. It's not hard. It's obvious what they want you to do, but you know, it's a little tricky. And don't worry, stuff can fall to screen, and it's still there. It still exists in the the Tim universe, the Incredible Machine. So, here we go. Jack says, "Hi, Bob." Puzzle 7. Make the Jack-in-the-Box break the fishbowl of Bob the Fish. So yes, we have Bob the Fish, the goldfish. He usually is an unfortunate, victim in a lot of these puzzles, where you have to break his fishbowl. Because honestly, he doesn't do a lot more than just kind of being an objective. Sometimes he has a little bit of practical use, but not much. So we have Jack-in-the-Box here, and it's showing you that it activates Mort the mouse by launching into the seesaw and hitting that. So there's like I said, not a whole lot for us to do on this puzzle, but you can kind of see what happens here. So it kind of goes right there. And that's unfortunately going to be it for Bob the Goldfish in this stage, and we'll move on. But there it goes. Don't worry, they're okay. All right, these are just little fun puzzles here. So this is puzzle 8, tilting at windmills. All you need to do is pop the balloon. Note that you must flip the windmill to select which direction it turns. So windmills are another generator that we have, similar to Mort the mouse. I'm gonna call that a mouse generator for now, because we'll see more outside of his little running wheel in a bit. But anyway, you can see the windmill spinning there, so it generates a little bit of force as long as there's wind blowing into it. But it's going the wrong way, so we gotta spin it this way to get the baseball to go that way. And we can use that to get this windmill going and probably make sure it's going the right way before we finish this puzzle. Yep. And that's all we gotta do there, and that should be it. That should be the puzzle right there. Man, I love this game. Just having a blast. What else is there really to say about the Incredible Machine? I just kind of love these like random games from the 90s, these PC games. I've played all kinds of them back in the day, and I was like, this is just gonna be a great way to kind of celebrate this 15 years. So I'm really excited to share this all with you. But puzzle 9, lower all the buckets. Your goal is to lower all 3 buckets. To do this, you must cut both ropes with the scissors. All right, so we gotta lower these buckets. So we probably have to use this trampoline here to get those two. You know, if we were pretty clever, there's probably a way to do this with like out using the cannonball, but we're just gonna do that. Huge puzzle, I know. So buckets can hold stuff. That didn't really show that in the puzzle. We also had ropes there and pulleys. We'll get more into that when we actually can use them, but for now, that's all that's really important. Well, actually, we're gonna get to use them right now. So puzzle 10, bang, bang, bang. You must shoot all 3 guns. All right, what happens at the start here? All right, so that shoots that gun there. You'll notice the balloon is tied to a hook. That's all. The hooks just kind of keep stuff in place like that. In order to shoot the gun, we gotta use the rope to pull behind it there. You can actually attach these ropes to guns too, or the ropes to the seesaws, I should say. So that should work like that. And then similarly, we can probably attach this. It wants us to use the bucket. We could. You know what? We will do that. I didn't mean to do that. It wants to show us that we can use the bucket to like fall and shoot this one too. But I think we could have also used the seesaw. Yeah. You know, I want to give that a shot. We're gonna actually go back and select that puzzle, because that's kind of what the fun part of this is, trying different solutions here. I want to say you can do this. If we use the seesaw, I think we can shoot both of these. Maybe not. Well, it didn't work. I think if we maybe, depending on where we put it, maybe you can't do this. Maybe this is not possible. Maybe because this rope doesn't move enough. It has to do with the pulley, I would imagine. What if we just attached it to this? This might work. Yeah, okay. We even need that pulley. Get out of here, pulley. We didn't need you. So yeah, multiple ways to use different components. Really fun. Like I said, I love this game. So here we go. Puzzle 11, like a hurricane. Yo, Legault. Dumb. Your goal is to turn on all the fans. You must flip the light switch to provide power to the electric plug. The initial state of all the plugs is off. Also, why did I say Legault and not Eubens? Weird. All right, so we turn on all the fans. You'll notice that 2 of them are in our inventory. So these are light switches. They provide power to stuff as long as it's plugged in, and basically an object has to be close. So this fan, as you'll notice, is pretty close here, but nothing is powering it. So what I really like about this game is, like, some of the objectives, you kind of have to do them to fulfill the other bits of the objectives, because you'll notice here, we're probably gonna have to use this fan to turn on this fan, which is pretty interesting. So I think this is pretty much the puzzle, and then, you know, we gotta do that. But yeah, the light switches are really good because as long as they're running, whatever's connected to them keeps running. So they're really powerful when it comes to that. Not like those little air blast things that make those windmills go for like 2 seconds. So here's puzzle 12, generators and motors. Make the tennis ball fall down into the pipe hole. Generators will take turning motion and provide electricity. The electric motor must be plugged in to run. So yeah, we have these motors here. So you'll notice they have outlets on it too. So we can plug stuff into it, like a fan, for instance. And then we have a generator. So this is probably the most powerful of these generators here, because as long as something, it'll just keep running as long as it has power. So you'll need something like this or like this to run it, and then it'll keep going. So what can we do when this starts? This is what we can do. We can turn on a fan. All right, so if we use this windmill, we can power this motor now. So that gives us that. So it's kind of fun to solve these puzzles in parts, right, to figure out what you can do. And so we can use this generator now to make this basketball move. So, but it's facing the wrong way, so we're gonna have to rotate it. You have to do this a lot. It's kind of hard to tell which way it's supposed to be facing. And then, so now that that's running, we can use this motor. And what's nice about these motors is you can kind of put the stuff around anywhere. Like, it doesn't have to be by the light switch. It just has to be by the motor to be plugged in. And then we can use the mouse here to turn on the motor, and that's gonna be the puzzle right there. Look at that. Look out, man. By the way, if you ever want to play this game, you might want to stop watching and play it yourself first, because I'm giving you all the answers. But why don't we do one more puzzle here, and then we'll wrap up the video. So this is puzzle 13, putting the gears in motion. Your goal is to make all the gears on screen turn. Shining light on the solar panel will make the electric plug active. All right, so now we have solar panels. These, again, are light switches that provide power to various things. So as long as there's light by them, that is solar power. That's sure. That makes sense, right? So what can we power with this? We can either power this generator or this fan. So we'll probably want to use the generator here, because powering a fan probably won't do us much there. So we'll see what this does. Okay, well we probably want it to go this way, I would imagine. Okay, and now we can use that to power this one, and then from here we can use this fan to power this windmill, and then from that we can like I said, there's not much to do in these tutorials. Like, they're pretty straightforward. From here we can turn this conveyor on, and then this rope can be used to turn on this light bulb here. So you pull down on these to activate them, as you saw at the beginning of this puzzle. And then this generator will turn these gears. And that's the puzzle. This one is pretty straightforward, because there's really not much else you can really do. So there's puzzle 13. And I guess that's gonna do it for this time. Next time, we'll start with puzzle 14, and we'll light a fuse. So thank you so much for watching. I've been OdinSpack 33, and I will see you next time. So until then, take care, and goodbye.